Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're about to get an answer to the age-old question, can you be confirmed Attorney General of the United States over the objection of 1,400 law professors? I don't know what the betting line in Vegas is, but I like your chances. Speaking of football, I want to congratulate the University of Alabama for one heck of a streak. One of the most dominant football teams in the history of college football. And I want to acknowledge the Clemson Tigers, where I live 5 miles from the stadium, that was the finest college football game I think I've ever seen. Yeah. Dabo Swinney and the Tigers represent everything good about college athletics. And while we were on different teams early this morning, I want to let the good people of Alabama know that in terms of their Senator Jeff Sessions, he is a fine man, an outstanding fellow who I often disagree with. I've traveled the world with. I've got to know him and his family, and I will enthusiastically support you for the next Attorney General of the United States. Now, let's talk about issues. Some people believe that the only way you can get justice in this world is for the federal government to administer it. Have you heard such thoughts?
Well, I have.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I do too. I think the whole point is for the federal government to take over an area of law, there should be a good reason. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
If a state's not prosecuting crimes against people based on their sex, their race, whatever reason, then it's proper for the federal government to come in and provide justice. Do you agree with that?
I do.
When the state's doing its job, the federal government should let the states do their job.
That is correct. That's the general principle, and there's not a general federal crime, federal statute that federalizes all crime in America.
To the people who are listening, that's just the way we think. You may not agree with that, but we think that way. And I think we've really got a good reason to think that way. I think that's the way they set up the whole system. Muslims. As you know, me and the President-elect have had our differences about religious test. Would you support a law that says you can't come to America because you're a Muslim?
No.
Would you support a law that says that if you're a Muslim, you say you're a Muslim, and when we ask you, what does that mean to you? Well, that means I got to kill everybody that's different from me. It's okay to say they can't come.
I think that would be a prudent decision.
I hope we can keep people out of the country who want to kill everybody because of their religion. I hope we're smart enough to know that's not what most people in the Muslim faith believe. So,
but it can be the religion of that person.
That's right. That's the point we're trying to make here. About the Wire Act, what's your view of the Obama administration's interpretation of the Wire Act to allow online video poker or poker gambling?
Senator Graham, I was shocked at the memorandum, I guess the enforcement memorandum that the Department of Justice issued with regard to the Wire Act and criticized it. Apparently there is some justification or argument that can be made to support the Department of Justice's position, but I did oppose it when it happened, and it seemed to me to be an unusual.
Would you revisit it?
I would revisit it, and I would make a decision about it based on careful study, rather than, and I haven't gone that far to give you an opinion today.
Immigration. You've said that the executive order of President Obama you believe is unconstitutional, the DACA law. Do you still have that position?
I did, for a number of reasons.
Well, no, I'm not, I mean,
right.
I agree with you. Now, we got 800,000 people that have come out of the shadows that have been signed up. Will you advise the next president, President Trump, to repeal that executive order?
There will be a decision that needs to be studied, and that he would need to agree to, but it's an executive order, really a memorandum of the Department of Homeland Security. It would certainly be constitutional, I believe, to end that order. And the Department of Justice, I think, could have no objection to a decision to abandon that order because it is very questionable, in my opinion, constitutionally.
Once we repeal it, and I agree that I believe it is an overreach, what do we do with the 800,000 kids who've come out of the shadows?
Senator Graham, fundamentally, we need to fix this immigration system. Colleagues, it's not been working right. We've entered more and more millions of people illegally into the country. Each one of them produces some sort of humanitarian concern, but it is particularly true for children. So we've been placed in a bad situation. I really would urge us all to work together. I would try to be supportive.
Would you prefer
to end the illegality and put us in a position where we can wrestle with how to handle these difficult, compassionate decisions?
Right. And the best way to do it is for Congress and the administration to work together and pass a law, not an executive order.
Exactly.
Okay. When it comes to the law of war, do you believe that people who join al-Qaeda or affiliated groups are subject to being captured or killed under the law of war?
I do, Senator. I don't see how we could see it otherwise. And it's the responsibility of the military to protect the United States from people who attack us.
Do you believe the threats to the homeland are growing or lessening?
I believe they are growing, and we're seeing that now in Europe, and we're also seeing it right here in America.
Do you support the continuation of Gitmo as a confinement facility for foreign terrorists?
Senator Graham, I think it's designed for that purpose. It fits that purpose marvelously well. It's a safe place to keep prisoners. We've invested a lot of money in that, and I believe it should be utilized in that fashion, and have opposed the closing of it. But as Attorney General,
I think they're on the fence about Gitmo, but I'm not sure. Let me tell you, I support this administration's effort to make sure we prosecute terrorism as a military action, not a law enforcement action. They're not trying to steal our cars or rob your bank account. They're trying to destroy our way of life, and I hope you will go after them without apology, apply the law, and the law is the law of war, not domestic criminal law, and you'll have a friend in Senator Graham if you intend to do that. Cyber attacks. Do you think the Russians were behind hacking into our election?
I have done no research into that. I know just what the media says about it.
Do you think you could get briefed anytime soon?
Well, I'll need to.
I think you do too. You like the FBI?
Do I like them?
Yeah.
Some of my best friends are FBI.
Do you generally trust them?
Yes.
Are you aware of the fact that the FBI has concluded that it was the Russian intelligence services who hacked into the DNC and Podesta's emails?
I do understand that.
From your point
Or
of
at
view.
least that's what's been reported, and I've not been briefed by them
Right.
on the subject.
From your point of view, there's no reason for us to be suspicious of them.
Of their decision?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was honorably reached.
How do you feel about a foreign entity trying to interfere in our election? I'm not saying they changed the outcome, but it's pretty clear to me they did. How do you feel about it? What should we do?
Senator Graham, I think it's a insignificant event. We have penetration apparently throughout our government by foreign entities. We know the Chinese have revealed millions of background information on millions of people in the United States. And these, I suppose, ultimately are part of international big power politics. But when a nation uses their improperly gained or intelligence-wise gained information to take policy positions that impact another nation's democracy or their approach to any issue, then that raises real serious matters. It's really, I suppose, goes in many ways to the State Department, and Defense Department, and how we as a nation have to react to that, which would include developing some protocols where when people breach our systems that a price is paid, even if we can't prove the exact person who did it.
I agree. I got 20 seconds left. I've known you for, I guess, 15 years now, and we've had a lot of contests on the floor, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. I'm from South Carolina, so I know what it's like sometimes to be accused of being a conservative from the South. That means something other than you're a conservative from the South. In your case, people have fairly promptly tried to label you as a racist or a bigot or whatever you want to say. How does that make you feel? And this is your chance to say something to those people.
Well, it does not feel good.
For you. And I would suggest that the freedom of speech also has some courtesy to listen. So what's your answer?
Senator Graham, I appreciate the question. You have a Southern name. You come from South Alabama. That sounds worse to some people, South Alabama. When I came up as a United States attorney, I had no real support group. I didn't prepare myself well in 1986, and there was an organized effort to caricature me as something that wasn't true. And it was very painful. I didn't know how to respond and didn't respond very well. I hope my tenure in this body has shown you that the caricature that was created of me was not accurate. It wasn't accurate then, and it's not accurate now. And I just want you to know that as a Southerner who actually saw discrimination and have no doubt it existed in a systematic and powerful and negative way to the people, great millions of people in the South, particularly of our country, I know that was wrong. I know we need to do better. We can never go back. I am totally committed to maintaining the freedom and equality that this country has to provide to every citizen, and I will assure you that that's how I will approach it.